The videos in this series are sneak previews of a larger course to be published later. We welcome your comments, corrections, and recommendations for improvement. Voodoo dolls sold separately. Welcome back. Let's talk about Cypher suites and handshakes under TLS version 1.3. TLS version 1.3 solves several problems that were encountered in version 1.2, mainly complexity, vulnerabilities or security, and performance. Version 1.3 reduces the number of Cypher suites from 37 down to just 5. It also eliminates all key exchange algorithms except one, Diffie-Hellman Ephemeral, which means that the handshake doesn't have to waste a round trip negotiating that element. Dozens of vulnerabilities have been discovered and documented in TLS version 1.2, which 1.3 has closed. And since asymmetric key cryptography algorithms take approximately 10,000 times the resources as symmetric, 1.3 eliminates most of the use of the former. For a deeper dive into version 1.2's vulnerabilities, see this article. Version 1.3 disallows connection renegotiation and protocol downgrades. That is where a malicious client tries to get a server to use an older, more vulnerable Cypher suite in order to exploit its known weaknesses. Also, RSA is not just deprecated but eliminated as a key exchange option due to its weaknesses in that step. TLS version 1.3 also enforces forward secrecy. What this means is that a spy cannot record a session today and then hack it later after, for example, a private key becomes compromised. By making all of the key exchange parameters temporary, volatile, not saved, never reused, which is to say ephemeral, 1.3 forecloses on this possibility. The key exchange and authentication fields of the Cypher suite are eliminated in version 1.3 as redundant. Diffie-Hellman Ephemeral is assumed for the key exchange algorithm and therefore doesn't need to be negotiated. All the server needs from the client are the key exchange parameters, which the client may now send on the initial client hello instead of having to wait until the second round trip. Authentication, instead of being a separate field, is in 1.3 combined with encryption in what is known as an Authenticated Encryption with Associated Data, or AEAD record. This is more secure than the 1.2 version that considered encryption and authentication separately, performing what is known as MAC then encrypt, instead accomplishing both in a single step. The choices for authenticated encryption with associated data are AES 128 or 256 and SHA-2 with Poly 1305. And for the hash algorithm, SHA-256 or 384. So here's the complete list of Cypher suites for TLS version 1.3. So let's look at the TLS handshake for version 1.3. You'll notice that it is shorter, with fewer round trips than in version 1.2. Client hello with key exchange parameters, server hello and finish, client finish. And immediately upon client finish, the client may start sending encrypted bulk data right away. No need to wait for another acknowledgement from the server. In the client hello, client sends a list of supported 1.3 Cypher suites. There is no need to negotiate the key exchange algorithm. It is Diffie-Hellman Ephemeral. Therefore, the client provides key exchange parameters, including the client random number, on the first call, rather than wait for the second round trip. The server, upon receiving the client hello, selects one Cypher suite, for example, generates a server random number, computes the master secret from client random, and server pre-master secret, and responds with the chosen suite, digital certificate, digital signature, and server random, hello and finished. Upon receiving the server hello, the client authenticates the server digital certificate, validates the server signature, and computes the same master key from client random, server random, plus client pre-master secret, and sends finished. And that's a wrap for TLS version 1.3 Cypher Suite and Handshake. If you've never been exposed to this material before, you may have the impression that this is very complicated, which it is. On the other hand, experienced system administrators and security professionals will say that this has been a gross oversimplification. For example, from this, you might infer that the result of the TLS handshake is a single shared secret symmetric key. Actually, this process produces 11 total keys. 6 of these are generated, used, and then discarded in the course of the handshake process in order to keep as much as possible of that process secure. 5 of them are of particular significance as being used after the handshake is complete. Multiply our one conceptual key here by 2 for client and server, as data sent by one is encrypted with one key and data sent by the other is encrypted with the other key. This increases confidentiality. For example, if both the client and the server send to each other the message supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, a hacker sniffing on the line won't know that the messages are the same, much less what they are, because their encrypted forms will be radically different. Multiply by 2 again for keys for the data encryption and a separate set of keys for the message authentication codes for client and server, which validate the messages. And now you have 4 keys. Finally, there is a single key called the resumption master secret. That is used in a process called zero round trip time, aka zero resumption time, to resume an earlier established session without having to go through the entire handshake process all over again from the beginning. We didn't talk about that, but now you know that's a thing, and 100 other minute details. That is the balancing act that I am performing, attempting to give you an accurate but summarized overview of the topic. If you are interested in taking a 10 times to 100 times deeper dive into this topic, I can recommend this book, Bulletproof TLS and PKI, 2nd edition by Ivan Ristic. You may notice that for the 2nd edition he dropped SSL from the title to emphasize that we are moving on. And these video lecture courses by Ed Harmouche, especially this one, Practical TLS, a deep dive into the protocols that secure the internet. A bit on the pricey side, but you pay for the best. And for the record, I am not paid to say that. I look forward to seeing you in the next discourse.